Look at this. Oh my god. Okay, so for this recipe, for this vegan creamy mushroom soup, we need 2 portobellos, and you need about 2 pounds or a little over 2 pounds is fine of mushrooms. You can use white mushrooms or creminis, which is what I'm using. These are really big creminis, just to make it easier on cleaning. But you could use white ones as well, but if you can, I would go for the creminis just because they have 300 times the amount of vitamin D as a white mushroom, so they're healthier for you, and they just taste a little better in my opinion. They have a little more flavor, so if you can, get these. Their price is pretty similar to a white mushroom most often, or more often than not, so if you can find them, go for those. But it's so much like Borderlands 2, it's ridiculous. Amazon had it for $7.98. That's super cheap. Yeah, I'll have to take a look. Thanks for the recommendation. Did you play it this weekend? Is it a very long game? Alright, I'm just getting a paper towel wet so I can start cleaning off these mushrooms, because we got lots of them. This is actually a beautiful portobello, so it doesn't need anything happening. It's pretty clean as well. Look how pretty. So pretty. I love portobellos. I like mushrooms in general, though. Clearly, because we have 3 bags of them. So, if you don't know much about mushrooms, they have virtually no sodium in them, and they are also a really good source of potassium, and that's really important if you're on a low sodium diet, because the potassium will help regulate fluid levels in your body, and usually if you're on a low sodium diet, you're also on a high potassium diet, or a higher potassium diet than normal. So you need to make sure you're getting lots of potassium-rich foods in addition to your low sodium to make sure your fluid levels are staying balanced and how they should be. Yeah, I really wish they'd announce something with Borderlands 3, because, man, do I want a new one? Like, whoa. Whoa, that'd be wonderful. I need a garbage bowl, so I just grabbed one. If you're on a plant-based vegan diet, it's very important to eat lots of mushrooms in your diet. It's actually one of the recommended foods that you eat every single day if you're plant-based, and even if you're not, because they're just so good for you. They're really good sources of B vitamins, riboflavin, and niacin, which are really important for people who don't eat meat. So those are things often found in meat products. So if you're not eating meat, if you're a vegetarian, or if you're vegan, you really want to add mushrooms to get those vitamins. And then also you get vitamin D, which is another hard one to get if you're not drinking dairy or eating dairy. So mushrooms are really like a little powerhouse. I eat mushrooms pretty much every day. It's rare the days I don't have a mushroom in my diet, but I really love them. I like them on salads, I like them in burritos, I like them in tacos in place of meat. I think they're just glorious. In soups and stews. How was my weekend? My weekend was good. It went by way too quickly, as usual. But it was nice. Daniel and I relaxed. We played some Minecraft this weekend on his realm, and that was pretty fun. We watched some of 21, but I think we fell asleep. I didn't see the end, but I've seen it before, so it wasn't a big deal. With, I think it's Kevin Spacey's in that. It's Kevin Spacey, like poker type of movie, but it's a pretty good one. It's where these like Harvard, MIT kids learn to count cards playing blackjack, and then they go to Vegas and utilize their sneaky counting card tactics to make boatloads of money. So I guess it's not Harvard kids, it's MIT kids, and one of the kids wants to go to Harvard, but he needs like 300 grand to pay for tuition. And so he's using this as like a means to an end, but he really gets into the lifestyle. So it's pretty fun movie. If you haven't seen it, it's called 21. Yeah, it is a good movie. You've seen it? I'm taking it. Yeah, I like it. What did you do this weekend? I guess we also did some shopping. Yesterday we went out and had brunch. Actually, we had brunch on Saturday too. We usually have brunch every day on the weekend. We love brunch. We went to one of my favorite places, Lola. It's both of our favorites, actually, on Saturday. and had some breakfast there. And then on Sunday, I was perusing some new places, but I had this like killer hankering this weekend for migas, which isn't plant-based at all. And I don't know if my body was like, you need something in migas that you're not getting, but I decided to give in. So we went and had migas, which is basically eggs scrambled with tortillas and a lot of jalapeno and salsa, topped with avocado and cheese and sometimes sour cream, and usually with it, the eggs are scrambled with a spicy chorizo sausage. So yeah, I had migas with chorizo, but I skipped the dairy, so I had them do no cheese, no sour cream, and I got extra guacamole. But yeah, I was naughty and had chorizo migas this weekend, and they were so good. I'm not sorry at all. Not sorry. I had a hankering, you know? Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you get a hankering for something and you just gotta give in. You worked Saturday, yesterday we had church, and then last night we went to the company Christmas party, ate way too much. Well, that's fun, it's not on your dime, right? Was the Christmas party for the whole family, or was it just significant others? Daniel and I opted out of his Christmas party. He had one this year, and we were invited, but usually he said the Christmas parties, I guess, at his company, from what he heard. This is only his first Christmas there. From what he heard, the Christmas parties are usually like people that have been there a really long time and a lot of schmooziness. And neither of us are schmoozers, and we really don't like mingling. It's just not something we like to do. We don't like talking about ourselves, so the Christmas party just made us kind of like, no. So we decided to skip it this year, and we'll maybe go next year. It's for everyone at work. The wife went with me. Oh, that's nice. Everyone got a +1. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's fun. Was it like a fancy place, or did you guys have it in your office? Can't remember where Daniel's was, but didn't matter to us because we weren't going. But I want to say it was like at some restaurant nearby. I mean, he works in the city and we live in the city, so I'm sure it was somewhere in the city. I just don't know where. So mushrooms also have virtually no cholesterol and no fat. So if you're on a low-fat diet, eat these. Good stuff. Tried okra, didn't care for it. I'll tell you something about okra. I hate it. That's one of those vegetables that I can't get on board with. So we're gonna cut off the very end of the stems, and then we're gonna cut up the rest of these. Okra to me tastes like slime. Like, it's got a really slimy texture, and I just don't get the appeal at all. I've tried it a couple times, and it's like one of the few vegetables I hate. Like, I don't want anything to do with okra. If it has okra, I have it. But I usually like most vegetables, but I can't stand okra. So I get your pain. I understand. Okay, we're gonna slice these. Kind of thick, I guess. Maybe that's a little too thick. Maybe I'll slice this one a little smaller. We don't want them too big. These are pretty whopping size creminis in the first place, so you know they're pretty monstrous if you try to put that whole thing in your mouth. But they are going to break down quite a bit and shrink in size when we cook them, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I figure this is like soft enough soup. It also doesn't really matter if they're a little too big because you can break it up with your spoon when you're eating it. If it's like, oh, that's too big of a bite for me, you know, you can find ways. You'll manage. Ow. Just like cut my nail off. It just didn't have much of flavor to it. It was bland. How was it prepared? How was the okra prepared? I've had fried okra and I've had okra in a soup, and both ways were just like, ugh, I don't understand. It was not for me. That's all I remember. Is didn't get it. It's like okra, man, hard pass. Maybe one day I'll come around, but I don't know. Likelihood's not good. I came around to Brussels sprouts this past year. Last year and the year before, I think the year before last was the first year I started actually liking Brussels sprouts. Because I used to hate those. That was like top of my list. And my mom loves Brussels sprouts, so like every Christmas she'd always make Brussels sprouts and you'd have to eat some and you're like, I really hate these. Why is this a thing? So I don't think I liked them then, but I made them myself, like from fresh ones, and I actually really like Brussels sprouts. And I really like the leaves of Brussels sprouts. They're pretty awesome. You can put them like, they kind of are like shaved almost. They're so thin. You can also shave Brussels sprouts and they're pretty good like on top of a salad. But Brussels sprouts are awesome in like a soup or a pasta, as well as just like fresh with some garlic and stuff. They're pretty good. It was fried. Yeah, I don't like it either, so, you know, I get it. It's not the best. Hopefully they had something else good there. What was your favorite thing that they served? They have something that like blew your mind and you were like, oh my god, I have to have more of this. Was it one of those like amuse-bouche appetizer parties situation where you didn't get like a full meal, you just had like people with trays of stuff walking around? Or was it like a sit-down dinner? I don't know how big your company is, so I'm not sure what kind of style they roll with. Cocktail parties are more like the tray appetizer situation. I don't like cocktail parties. Ugh. Not in my element in such situations. So this soup is really awesome because almost everything in it, other than the mushrooms being so many that you need, is stuff you have in your pantry all the time. So it's like dried herbs, you know, carrots, celery, garlic, kind of kitchen staples that you already have. Coconut milk, maybe you don't have coconut on hand, maybe that's something you need to buy as well, but for the most part it's just like stuff you already have. So it's a really good dinner for busy weeknights, or if you want to meal prep this like I am, it makes, you know, busy weeknights even easier. But it's a nice recipe because it's really good and really hearty and really satisfying with like a big chunk of crusty bread, especially in the cold winter. It's like, you know, one of those soups that kind of warms your soul. I had a 12-ounce sirloin with bacon cheddar fries. Wow. Wow. And the okra I hated. How was the rest of the meal? Were the fries good? I had some really killer fries the other day. Daniel took me to lunch during the week while he was working, and we went to some new place. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll have to find out the name of it. But they are like known for their garlic fries, so I was like, okay, well I gotta try those. I usually ask the waitress, you know, what are you guys known for? Because I like to try, you know, the best thing on the menu. And she was like, we're pretty known for our garlic fries. And I was like, all right, well bring me some. So I had these garlic fries, and oh my gosh, they were so good. They were so garlicky, it was insane. Like, I'm pretty sure I stunk the rest of the day. But luckily that sort of thing doesn't bother Daniel. Him and I are, you know, not really offended by smell of garlic and onions and stuff, so that's good, because I'm sure I reeked. But it was awesome. Like, I want those fries again. They were so good. So bad for me, but so good. The company gives us like $200 to throw a party, and then the boss pays anything above that. Oh, that's neat. That's pretty cool. Were you on the party planning committee, or is that like one person's job? That's kind of neat if you guys get a say in what goes down. Did I already cut the end off of this one? I can't remember. We'll do it again. We're almost through all these mushrooms, guys. I know this part's kind of slow. If you don't want to do this, if you're like, I don't have time to cut all these mushrooms, Lace, you can buy them in a packet already ready to go, pre-sliced, and just buy 3 8-ounce packages of them. They usually come in 8-ounce packs. That's why I say 3. So just check the weight, but usually they're 8-ounce packs. Just buy 3 of them. You'll be good. Then you don't have to worry about chopping all these little mushrooms up. Then you just have to buy portobellos. And portobellos are, you know, there's only 2 of them to cut. Mountain mushroom. My goodness. You really do want to use the stems though when you're making this one because it makes your mushroom buck spread. So if you pulled the mushroom stems out, you'd have less mushrooms, less mushroomy flavor, and you'd have to probably buy more mushrooms. So this way it's a little more budget friendly. Okay, 1 pile down. Of course the fries were good. They had bacon on them. I do not like bacon. Don't like bacon at all. Okay, on to the fatty portobellos. We're gonna slice them just like we did the other ones, but we are gonna remove the stems from these because they're looking pretty gnarly. Just depends on your portobellos, but if they look gnarly, take them out. If they look fine, you could leave them in. Mine look a little funky, so I'm gonna remove mine. Okay, then we're just gonna slice this up too, and then we're going to halve it, I think, because these are just so huge. I like to try to keep my portobellos in a pile and then slice them across, just because it's easy to make sure you get them all the same. But you don't need to do that if you're not wanting to. Portobello. When they're all chopped up, they look a lot like the creminis because creminis are just baby portobellos. Really? See, if you want to do it the other way, you could just... This works fine too. Kind of group them together, hope for the best. Ta-da! Okay. Mushrooms! I'm going to wipe down my board a little because it's covered in mushroom gunk. Now the boss sets it all up. He usually ends up kicking in another 150 or so. Most of the guys order the biggest steak on the menu. I bet, yeah. I think it's crazy how much money companies spend on meals. Like, Daniel had a company party for lunch. Like, they did like a team woohoo meeting because they just finished a big sprint and a big milestone. So they had like a big team meeting or big team lunch. And I think the bill was like $2,000 because of the size of the team. And I was like, oh my God, that's so expensive for lunch. Just crazy. They had some of the big upper executives there too, so, you know, I'm sure they got whatever they wanted. But I couldn't imagine being the boss and like shelling out, you know, $2,000 for lunch. It's just nuts. All right, we need some carrots, or a carrot. 1 carrot. And 1 stalk of celery. Woo! As my drawer falls out. Okay. So here's the deal. If you're making the soup, use an onion. Me, I'm allergic to onions, and I'm having a really bad allergic reaction right now. So I'm trying to not eat onions this week because I'm just so itchy from them. So I'm going to skip the onion and do an alternative. But if you want to make this recipe traditional style, you're going to use 1 onion, and preferably yellow or white. But if you want to skip the onion, or if you don't like onion, or if onions or you're sensitive to onions, whatever the case may be, you can go this method, which is 1 stalk of celery, 1 carrot, and a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar to give you that twang that an onion would give you. So we're going to go this route because I don't want to be any more itchy than I already am. Alright, so we just washed our carrot and our celery. We're going to leave the skin on the carrot because we do organic carrots here. So we're going to get the skin because that's where lots of the nutrition is, always packed in the skin of your fruit and vegetables. So whenever you can, keep the skin on. We're going to chop these both pretty thin. Benefit of not having the onion is that we will get some extra nutrition from this, but on the flip side, you might not get as much depth of flavor that you would if you caramelized onions. So if you're going the onion route, you're going to caramelize those. They're going to be really rich and delicious. Sadly, we're going to do it this way. I wish I could go the onion route, but I just don't want to be any itchier. So we're going to cut these pretty small. I need to clean my knife. It's covered in mushrooms. So we're going to do this pretty small. So I'm just going to kind of run my knife down it, and then I'm going to do it again. We don't really want these noticeable in the soup. We just want them for our mirepoix, which is usually celery, carrot, and onion, but it's what imparts a lot of flavor into a soup. So we don't need big pieces. We're not going for like celery mushroom stew. We're doing cream and mushroom soup, but this is going to be where a lot of our flavor comes from. So we want these pretty small. So what are you up to today, Athlon? What's everyone doing? You went up to anything fun? I'm not doing a whole lot today myself. This was on my plan, and we'll see what happens after. If I feel motivated to do something else, I might, but I don't know. I have lunch already meal prepped from last week. I made some burritos, quinoa burritos, so I have one of those left that I'm going to eat for lunch today. But, oh, manly! But I don't know what I'm going to do this afternoon. Maybe some blogging, I don't know. So we're going to do something similar to carrot here. We're going to cut it pretty small. Manly, we're busy. If it doesn't cut into perfect sizes, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Some garlic. Garlicky. I hope I have balsamic. I should. I hope. This is our coconut milk we'll be using. So we're using fair trade organic coconut milk, unsweetened. This is 13.5-ounce can. You'll also want tamari for this recipe. You're going to be using less sodium version. Tamari is basically gluten-free soy sauce. So if you don't have that, you could use soy sauce. I don't know if I have balsamic. balsamic vinegar. I don't even think we've opened it. We haven't. Okay. Alright, so garlic. This is something I'm also allergic to, so I'm going to go light on it today. Normally, if you're making this, you want to use 6 to 8 cloves, which is a lot of garlic. I'm going to do about 4. So about half. Don't want to compound the itchy scratchy show. We're actually going to end up mincing this through my garlic press. I just shot garlic right onto the floor. Emily's like, what kind of treat are you putting down for me? Emily, that's just garlic. Oh, that's okay, Athlon. Yeah, no problem. Welcome back. So we're just going to peel the paper off. You streaming today, Athlon? Or did you already do it? You love garlic? Garlic is good. I love garlic too, but I'm allergic. It usually doesn't bug me unless I'm having a reaction to something else. So like right now, onions are giving me a reaction. So I have to limit my garlic, otherwise it'll just compound the issue. But I cook with a lot of garlic. I really like it. Luckily it's not a severe allergy, thank goodness, because oh my gosh, garlic's so good for you. All its cancer fighting properties and antioxidant quality, like it fights disease. Unlike anything else, garlic and onions. Alright, so we're going to cut this in half just to see if there's any green in the middle, and there is. If there is green, remove that. It will cause indigestion and heartburn. So take that out. It's usually the germs only present, the green germ, if your garlic's a little older, and this is probably a little bit older head of garlic. So it's not bad, it's just that, you know, it's got some green bits to it. Some people swear by green garlic, like that it's the good part of the garlic, but a lot of nutritionists agree that it can cause a lot of stomach issues unnecessarily, and you might as well just remove it out because it just takes a sec. No, I'm not streaming yet, but you have given me an idea. I could stream some Shadow Warrior 2 later or sometime this week. Yeah, there you go. If you're enjoying it, yeah, you should totally stream it. That would be cool. Alright. So you pulled the germ out, all those, so they're ready to go. Get the hands washed. Alright, we're going to start the cooking. The cooking! Not to be confused with the Kraken. Alright, so you want a really big stock pot or Dutch oven. I'm going to be using a Dutch oven for this. Whatever you choose to use, you need a lid. Alright, I'm going to move the camera over here so you guys can see the stove. Like I said, part of my hopes is to get another camera, but in the meantime, I apologize for the moving, but we're going to move. I might have to adjust some things here, so give me just a second. I can't see what I'm doing while I'm doing it, so I have to like do a little and go check. Alright, that looks like we can see what's happening. Yes? Okay. Awesome. It's a little dark. I apologize. current lighting situation over there, and I have the light on, but doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference, does it? The Kraken, my favorite sea monster I like to kill. Yes. Alright, so we're going to heat a tablespoon of olive oil in our Dutch oven here. I'm not going to measure, we're just going to estimate. And we're going to turn the heat on high. I think, can't remember. Medium, not high. The stove really doesn't have a medium, so we'll hope for the best. That'll take just a minute. So you really want to make sure you have a big stock pot, height and width-wise, because the mushrooms are going to take up a ton of volume initially. It's going to be just packed to the brim, and so if you don't have enough room, you're going to run into a problem, and you might have to do this in a couple parts. So you want a pretty big stock pot. You could also use a tall, like, really tall stock pot, but Dutch oven seems to be enough space as long as you have a big enough one. So just keep that in mind, because you do want to put all these mushrooms that we have here into that pot. And they'll cook down after a little bit, but it will initially be a lot of stuff. Alright, so we need our dried ingredients. We're going to use a tablespoon of oregano and a tablespoon of basil. Don't know if I have dried basil, but I know I have fresh. So we're going to see. If I don't have dried basil, we'll just use fresh. That's fine. Basil. Do you exist? No. So we're going to use fresh basil. That's fine. So if you don't have dried basil, you can just adjust this a little. We're also going to use a little fresh thyme because, well, I have it and it's good. I got the time. So if you're using fresh herbs, these are going to go in at the end. My basil looks kind of questionable, doesn't it? Maybe I don't have fresh basil. That leaves okay. Can't believe I don't have dried. Yeah, these look pretty gnarly. Bummer. Do I really not have basil? Is that really a thing? Or chili powder? I think we got rid of it when we moved. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna substitute basil for thyme. Things happen in the kitchen and you don't have something you need, you can just substitute for something else. It's totally okay. So this is thyme, and sometimes people have a hard time getting the thyme off the stalk. This is a really woody stalk and you don't want to eat it. So you're just gonna point the leaves upward and then pull your finger downward. And it kind of just peels off like that, and then you can just pop the top off. So that's how you're going to get your thyme off the leaf, or off the stem. Check my pot here. The oils, you're going to look for it to start to shimmer and smoke, which it is, so we're ready to go. So we want to get in our mirepoix of vegetables. I need my bench scraper. So we're going to get our celery in there. Oh yeah. Our carrots. Give this a stir. So everything can kind of start getting coated in that oil. And we need to get our garlic in shortly, so we want to have it ready. So I'm going to grab my garlic press here. And the dried oregano will need to go in as well. So we're doing a tablespoon of dried oregano. we're going to kind of heap it. And you just want to stir this occasionally. Again, if you're using onions instead of the carrot celery mix, you're going to want to caramelize the onions, so you want them on a medium-low heat, and it'll probably take about 10 minutes before they start browning and caramelizing. We're looking for these to soften. Smells good, yeah. So to soften these, it'll probably take about 5 minutes. And we need to get our herbs going here because they need to go in soon. So I'm looking for about 2 tablespoons of fresh thyme. Usually if you're switching dried for fresh, you want to double it most of the time. That's a pretty good method I've found. So what we would normally use is a tablespoon of dried basil. Since we don't have basil, we're using 2 tablespoons of fresh thyme. Just want to make sure when you're doing thyme that you pay attention that you don't get any big old stemmy bits in your mix here. And we're going to give this a little chop too to kind of help ensure that. Time is of the essence. It sure is. Sure, stir. See, we're starting to get a little color. So it's a little too hot because we don't really want color on this, to be honest. So, you know, my pan or my stove just is way too hot all the time. It's a constant struggle for me. It heats like it's, you know, life depends on it, and I don't need it to. I need it to chill the hell out. It's like super powered. I wish it was much more mellow. Thyme smells so good though. It's got a really nice fragrant quality about it. I used to grow thyme in my garden because I had the time. Yeah. So I used to grow thyme in my garden, and it's a really good grower, but it doesn't last all that long unless you trim it occasionally and, you know, get more going. So, okay. Now is where we want to add the garlic. Already got this out. So we're going to just put the garlic into our press and squeeze it right in. We're also going to add our oregano. Scrape that. Now it's smelling good. Alright, we'll get the rest of it in. This was 4 cloves, but I'd recommend 4 to 8. If I wasn't having an allergy, I would go with 6. Don't miss out on any of that good garlicness, so scrape it all off. Get it all. My sleeve just won't stay up. Nom 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 nom. Yeah, now the good stuff's going in, huh? So this is going to form the base of our soup and be where a lot of our aromatics come from, except for the fresh herbs we're going to use at the end. So if you're using all dried, you put them all in now. Except for pepper. Don't do pepper until it's towards the end because it'll just compound and get really peppery. Okay, so now we need to add the mushrooms and the soy sauce and cover the pot. So in they all go. It's just a mountain. And if we're lucky, they'll all fit. out on the little bits. It'll just add to the flavor. Oops. All right, and we need 3 tablespoons. Where's my? There it is. 3 tablespoons of tamari, which is sodium or gluten-free soy sauce. If you don't have tamari, you could use soy sauce. 1. 2. 3. And then we're going to add a teaspoon of balsamic. Simmer, and we're going to let that go for about 10 minutes, and you want to stir it 2 or 3 times while it's cooking. Set the timer here. If you haven't tried tamari, it's really good. It's basically just healthier soy sauce, especially if you go for the low sodium version, which is always, I think, better to do, or no salt added versions of anything, because there's just too much salt in our diets anyways. So if you have the option, try it out. Back to our time. Back to our time. Bum ba dum bum ba dum bum. So I don't need to be on the corner of my cutting board now that I have all this room. Whoa! Wowzers. Alright, this is probably enough. Sure smells good in here. Wish you had smell-o-vision so you could smell what I'm smelling, because it is glorious. Glorious! Okay, and our 1 little basil leaf that we could salvage from that container. 1 basil leaf's better than no basil leaves. Sometimes you gotta take what you can get. Just make sure you break up any really big chunks of the thyme. Like that guy. We don't need that for a bit yet, so we'll just let it chill. Chill, man. Put our thyme away. Yeah, low sodium is good. I really have to watch that, as it is a contributor to kidney stones. Yeah, well, I'm on low sodium diet as well for my autoimmune disorder, my Meniere's. So I do low sodium too. And you know, Daniel's on low sodium because I am, and he finds that he just doesn't crave salt like he used to anyway. So he's healthier for it as well. So anyone can be on lower sodium, and it's beneficial. So this is our coconut milk. You can see it's full fat, so it's pretty thick. Depending on how much liquid comes out of those mushrooms, we may add some other liquid, and it might be like mushroom bouillon and water, but you might not need to do that. It just depends on how much liquid comes out of the mushrooms. So we'll just have to play it by ear here and see how it goes. But we are going to use that coconut milk. Hang on just a second. I just gotta check my recipe for a minute. Okay, yeah, we're good. Just had to double check. I thought I missed something. I was like, did I forget something? But I didn't. We're okay. We're A-okay, guys. stir. It's been about 4 minutes. So you can see the volume's already kind of reducing down. Smells amazing. Set that down for a minute. We want to get this pretty good stir. Make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. Alright. And I'll put the lid back on. The lid can get pretty hot. It's not that hot right now, but it can get hot. So use a pot holder if you need to, so you don't burn your fingers. I'm going to be doing a urine analysis 3 times a year to see what is going on and make sure I'm keeping all my levels on track. Well, that's good. Staying ahead of the problem is always a good route. Ah, water. Tastes so good. Daniel's texting me. My allergies are just killing me today, guys. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. I apologize. So I'm considering playing some Stardew Valley on stream this week. I've been having a real desire to play some Stardew, and I don't know why, but I'm thinking I might play some. Still haven't really checked out the multiplayer update, and I know it just came out on Switch this week, and so kind of been interested in picking it back up. I know my YouTube audience would really dig that, I'm sure, so I'm thinking maybe. How's my social media fast going? It's going well. I'm recording updates by the week so that at the end I can do a video to show you guys what happened. And so far it's been going really well. I've been really liking it. I feel a little disconnected from some things, but I don't think that's such a bad thing. But I'm having a really hard time not checking my messages on YouTube. Like, not reading my YouTube comments is really hard. So, wow, the mushroom just turned on the oven. So that's probably the most challenging bit right now, is just not having access to my messages and my comments to see how my YouTube videos are doing that I've been making lately, and just not viewing my analytics anywhere. I don't know how things are going, and I've been switching formats a bit, so I'm not sure how people are reacting to that. But I am enjoying creating without fear and just doing whatever, so that feels pretty awesome. Alright, we got 3 minutes left on the mushrooms. 3 minutes. Yeah, I did get a, how's your social media blackout going, Athlon? Because I know you're doing it too. I did get a new thing this week. I'm now partnered with, or not partnered with, I'm an Amazon influencer, and so now I have an Amazon store, and the link is posted in chat, but it's amazon.com/shop/foodfluent by Red Lace. If you're interested in checking out the products I use while cooking here on stream, including cooking ingredients such as these, you know, all these things, I have links for you can buying it right on Amazon. Also cooking tools, so like bench scrapers and garlic presses and cutting boards, including the one I'm using, you know, stuff like that, or streaming gears, so the cameras I'm using, the computer parts. You can check out all that stuff on my Amazon store, so I have links directly to it if you're interested in shopping my store, so any purchases you make through there support my channel, and I really appreciate it. I've been communicating via direct messages, but I'm not browsing social media or tweeting or anything like that. That's awesome. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I'm not browsing social media either. I'm only tweeting for content I produce, and so that's interesting, because sometimes I'm thinking something and I want to tweet it, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. So that's a challenge occasionally. But, you know, what can you do? Yesterday, we were at the coffee shop, and this guy, I'll tell you about this guy was freaking me out. He was sitting to my left, and it's so hard to talk without a camera facing me. So this guy was sitting to my left, and he had like video chat going with some gal, and I swear this dude was paying for the service because she was like pressing her boobs together at the camera every couple seconds, and it was so creepy. We were at a cafe, which is like a breakfast place / coffee shop, and this guy was, all he was doing was like, yeah, just like making the worst sounds next to me. And Daniel's on my right, and I didn't want to say anything because I knew he'd hear. So when we left, I was like, "Did you hear that guy?" And he's like, "No, what?" And I told him about it, and he's like, "Ew." I was like, "I know." At a cafe counter, like, so gross. Ugh, so bad. All right, we got 45 seconds on this, then we're gonna stir again and continue to the next part. But anyway, I wanted to tweet about that. Like, you wouldn't believe the dude sitting next to me right now. Can't do that. Gotta tweet with purpose. It's a bit of a struggle sometimes when I pop up on Twitter to check DMs and I see something I want to respond to. I'm the same, Athlon. Yeah, I really want to like reply to somebody's tweet or say something or, you know, like someone's stuff, and I can't do it. So it's like, I did fudge this week. I saw a picture on Instagram when I was going to post a photo. My sister's photo popped up, and she had posted a picture of her kittens, and I hit the like button without even thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I can't do that. So I fudged up once this weekend. Your food is ready, woohoo! Your food is ready, woohoo! Alright, they've reduced down really nice. So they didn't release as much liquid as I would like. So we're probably going to end up having to add some stock, but I think that's okay. But the mushrooms are looking really good. We're going to cook them now for 10 minutes with the lid off. And we're going to probably add some stock because I don't think they're going to release enough liquid for our purposes. So we're going to add a little stock to this today. A holly jolly Christmas indeed. Oh my goodness. So I think I'm going to do 3 cups of water. Maybe 4 cups. We'll see. We'll do 3 and see how we are. So 3 cups of water. Like I said, this is really dependent on how much liquid releases from your mushrooms. So right now we didn't get a whole lot or as much out as we wanted to. So we'll try seeing where we're at when we get to the liquid part. And then we're going to do organic better than bouillon mushroom base. You can get this on Amazon from my Amazon store. The link is in there for this product. It's really good. It's like I need to get more. I need to add it to my list. Alright, we're going to do a teaspoon. That's it. A teaspoon. Yeah, I don't think I have more mushroom stock, so I'm going to have to check. It's like I have a backup vegetable, but not a backup mushroom. We'll pull it up. I'll post a link for you guys too, because I'm just going to add it to my cart right now. Get it in there. Cooking ingredients, ingredients, cooking ingredients, ingredients. Mushroom. Oh, really? I don't really want the big jar. Looks like the small jar I usually get is out of stock, so we'll see here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just get it from Whole Foods. Well, shoot. Oh well. You gotta do what you gotta do. Just remember to keep stirring this occasionally. A lot of that liquid's coming out. You can see the bottom of the pot. Smells amazing. Amazing. Got my wife hooked on Far Cry 5, and she has gotten really wrapped up into it. Had to laugh. She was playing one part of it and she was getting really mad at it, and her daughter came in to talk to her. Same time my son shouted, "Son of a fucking bitch." Oh jeez. Oops. She had a moment. Needless to say, the daughter was not happy and had to spank to wife, of course. Huh? What? You lost me on that last sentence. She had the what now? The not to? Oh, was not too happy. I gotcha. Yeah, she was like, "Mom, language. I can't talk like that. Come on." Some games, though, get you heated under the collar. I know how that goes. Some games have the power to do such things. I really need to go to the store anyway. I've been trying to go to Whole Foods and remember stamps like 4 trips now, and I cannot seem to remember stamps for the life of me. I get home and I'm like, I went down there for stamps and I came back with a bag of groceries and I forgot the stamps, and it happened 4 times because I need to send my Christmas cards out and I don't have stamps. I just cannot remember. It just keeps evading me. So I really got to do that. And I guess now I need to get, some mushroom bouillon, and I also need to get some more veganese for salad dressing because I am out. And Amazon Fresh does not sell veganese online for whatever reason. At least not the soy-free version. Had to spank the wife. Oh, naughty naughty. Naughty. Alright, we're at 5 minutes, so we got 5 more to go. More of the liquid's coming out. When you cook mushrooms like this, when they're like piled high, they release a lot of their liquid, and the liquid doesn't have a chance to evaporate like it would if your pan has room, like when you're normally sauteing mushrooms for something. So it just creates more and more volume. So you're going to get more and more liquid the longer they stew here in their own juices. And that's kind of why when some people make mushrooms, they're like, "Oh, my mushrooms didn't taste very good" if they like sauteed them. It's usually because there was too much room in the pan and they were overcrowded, so the liquid didn't have anywhere to go. So if you're trying to evaporate your liquid, you really want to make sure you don't overcrowd the pan. But for something like this, we want to crowd the pan, and we're intentionally packing them in so that we'll get those mushrooms to release all that glorious liquid that'll make up the majority of our broth here. Dump out my garbage bowl. Almost forgot to clean my garlic press, and if you don't clean it now, it's going to be terribly difficult to clean later. Garlic is super sticky, so if you ever use a garlic press, you just want to clean it as soon as possible, or you're going to have to soak it for like an hour in hot water, because it just sticks really badly. I'm going to actually start the oven for my lunch while we're standing here. I'm going to make that after stream. And might as well preheat. So I can eat sooner, because my food has to reheat. Oh, it looks so good. You guys want to see what I'm having for lunch today? This is meal prep from, I think Thursday or Friday I made these, I can't remember. But it's just a quinoa burrito with squash and sweet potato and black beans that I made. They're spicy black beans. But I didn't have enough black beans. I needed 2 cans for my recipe and only had 1, so there's barely any beans in here because I made 6 burritos. And Daniel ate all of them except for this one. This is the last one left. So I added some refried beans and then I did a wet verde sauce or a green sauce on top because the burrito ended up being really dry because I didn't have enough beans in it. So it really needed this extra bit. And the green sauce and the beans actually are really tasty to like dip with chips. And then you just add a big green salad on the side and it's really good. So that's lunch today. That's the glory of meal prep. All I have to do is put foil on this and throw it in the oven. Hey-o! Alright, we got 2 more minutes on these mushrooms, and then we can add some of our liquids. Looks so good. Let's taste one. Those mushrooms are so flavorful, it's just silly. They're so good. And by adding that little bit of balsamic, we really got that kind of twang you get from an onion that we didn't have because we didn't use onion. It's really good. So I've been considering changing my online handle. What are you going to change it to? I just changed mine, so I'm in that boat myself. It was interesting changing it. I think some people, I'm trying to like transition, so like on YouTube I'm still Food Fluent by Red Lace, but eventually I'll be dropping the red lace. But I was Red Lace gaming forever, so there's kind of, you gotta have a transition period so people know who you are. But I made sure to keep the same avatar so people wouldn't get too confused. Alright, 55 seconds. So good, so yummy. I think we should take a picture for the blog. Of course. Photos for the blog. The lighting in the kitchen's so bad. Wish it didn't suck. Like I'm in the shot, like there's a terrible shadow. I think I gotta zoom way out so that I can crop it in Photoshop later. Yay, photos! Oh. Alright, so we use spatula. Your food is ready, woohoo! Doesn't it sound like it's saying that? Your food is ready, woohoo! Okay, so now we're going to add the coconut milk. So this is a whole can. The top will have all the fat settled on it. A whole can of organic coconut milk, unsweetened. We're going to stir this up and see where we're at liquid-wise. And I may add a little more water here. Gotta wait and see. May not. It actually looks pretty liquidy. I don't know. Set the timer for another 10 minutes. I think I'm going to add some liquid. I think I'm only going to do a cup, though. Cup and a quarter. And I'm going to add less of this bouillon because we're reducing the water. So instead of a whopping teaspoon, we're going to do like a half a teaspoon. Just a little. Alright, and we want to bring this back up to a boil now that we've added our liquids. So bring up the heat. Bring up the heat. I have had these two ideas in my head for a while now. I'm considering Thumper Boy 77 or Full Metal Grandpa. Not sure I'm going to do it. It's a lot of trouble. Well, what's the reason behind the name change? Because that sometimes helps you decide if it's worth it or not. What's the meaning behind each name? Not sure I'm going to do it. Yeah, what's the meaning behind each name? What's the decision process looking like? I like Full Metal Grandpa, but you're not a grandpa. You're a dad. What about Full Metal Dad? Or Full Metal Athlon. Full Metal Dude. I would recommend not choosing anything with numbers. Anytime you add numbers to a handle, it makes it really hard for people to remember. And you end up losing, I think, a lot when you do choose to use numbers just because your name wasn't taken. I think you need to be more creative and not use numbers. And this isn't to you directly, it's to everybody that uses numbers. But using numbers is like a bad idea from a branding perspective. It's just more stuff people have to remember, and then often people don't remember the numbers, so they end up going to the name without the numbers, so they're on someone else's channel thinking it was you. Just food for thought, I suppose. Alright. Smells good. Alright, we're going to go ahead and add our time at this point. I got the time. La la la. Put the foil on my lunch. So you know we still haven't added pepper, and there's no salt added to this because soy sauce or tamari, whichever you choose to use, are both pretty salty already. So you don't want to add salt to this dish unless you're like, I can't eat things without salt because you're weird. Then taste it when it's done, and if it still needs salt, then maybe add some flaky sea salt or something, but I honestly don't think you'll need any. But we will probably add a little pepper to it when it's done, but we're going to taste it after, you know, the 10 minutes is up to see where we're at. So we have 6 minutes to go, and then we'll find out if it needs pepper. Full Metal Grandpa. Okay, let me start from the top. Well, Thumper Boy is a nickname a friend of mine gave me when I was stationed in Germany land. He knew I went to church a lot, so he called me Thumper Boy. Well, that seems almost offensive. Full Metal Grandpa is a derivative of me loving heavy metal and being an old fart. But you're not an old fart. That's what I don't get. You are not an old fart. Alright, we're going to turn the heat down to medium now that we're boiling. You can see it's starting to get creamy now. Broth's looking creamy and delicious. We're of course going to have to try a tiny little bit. Of course. This soup is really good over mashed potatoes. So if you want to stretch your meal to a few more nights, mashed potatoes under this would be money. And I might do that actually, I don't know. It sounds pretty good now that I'm thinking about it. I might just add those mashed potatoes. Alright, we're going to clean up our board a little while we have some time here. Clean as you go. Save yourself some trouble. Got stuff everywhere, man. Sorry about that. It's probably loud, especially if you're listening with headphones. I know lots of you do headphones, so I apologize. Alright, that's better. I wasn't offended at all, but then again, that's what guys do to show friendship. They say offensive things to each other. True. Just realized it's 3:30 and I haven't eaten lunch. Yeah, I haven't either. That's why I'm fixing to get some in the oven. It's only 1:30 here, but still, yeah. We must eat. I'm gonna taste some of the soup in a minute, though. I got 2 minutes, and we're gonna taste it. I actually think it might be good now. It looks good, so we're gonna turn the heat off. Turn off our timer. And I'm gonna bring it back over here. Oops. Oops. Woo! Move the camera back. Hey, it's the floor. Super exciting stuff, I know. The floor is so exciting. Da-da-da-da. Oh, it smells glorious. Where's my ladle? All right. So, you want to taste your broth to know if you need any extra seasoning. So, let's do that. I don't want to burn my face off though, so blow carefully. I don't think it needs anything. It's so good. It's like got a really rich mushroom taste, and you get some of that sweetness from the carrot that came through and some of the kick from the balsamic. It's pretty awesome. So we're gonna put some in a bowl here so we can get a shot for the blog and taste a little. So good. Alright, I'm gonna take a picture. Un momento. Then we're gonna eat it. Oh yeah! Perfect. My son has learned to be a smartass. Uh-oh. That's never good. Alright, so let's have get a little carrot in there. It's super hot, so it's always the worst if you burn your mouth, like during the day, and then you're waiting for dinner because it's going to be so good, and you burn your mouth, and you're like, well, that sucks. That's just so good. If you like mushrooms, you gotta try this because it has the most depth of flavor. A really umami thing going on with the tamari and the coconut. It doesn't taste like coconut. If you're thinking it will, it won't. It doesn't taste like coconut, but it's got a nice creaminess that you wouldn't otherwise get unless you were using dairy. Now that is cream and mushroom soup. That's where it's at, guys. This is not your grandma's, not from a can. No salt added. Potassium punchin'. Gluten-free. Low fat. Awesomeness. Okay. Time to get Get it in meal prep containers. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and eat it all. And all over the camera. So when you're splitting stuff into containers, I like to do a couple spoonfuls in one and a couple spoonfuls in other. Make sure you get equal amounts of things, so mushrooms divided, that sort of deal. Ooh, it's hot. And you want to serve this with a really crusty bread. The crustier the better. If you don't have crusty bread, you could probably use like a sandwich bread, but it just won't be the same. You really want a crusty bread to kind of soak up all the flavors and things you got going on here. And you can, like I was saying, put it over mashed potatoes to kind of make it stretch a little further. But this is a really filling soup because of the mushrooms. It's kind of like a meat replacement almost. So you're not going to feel like you're going without if you don't have a huge bowl of soup, you know what I mean? Oh, it's so good. So this is going to be 2 nights of dinners for 2 people, is what this recipe makes. And I will be posting this recipe to the blog at foodfluent.com. Maybe later today. We'll see. We'll see if I have the motivation to do it today. If not, it'll be up this week. Get all the good bits. All right. Perfect. So there you go. That is our cream of mushroom soup. Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for hanging out. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Athlon, for chatting with me and keeping me company today. It's been fun. And there's the link to my blog where I'll be posting the recipe later. You can also check out my recipe there and my restaurant reviews in the city of Seattle for dining out as a vegan. So have a great afternoon, everybody. I'm going to see if I can host somebody, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks again for that 3-month resub, Athlon. You're